years ago, the Philippines' first full Ironman race emerged on the beautiful Subic Bay. Thousands of athletes from around the world challenged the daunting race and came out victorious. Since then, Ironman Philippines reigned as one of the most anticipated and sought-after triathlon races in the country. That is until 2 years ago, when the global pandemic brought it to its heel. Since then, athletes were left longing for the return of the most exciting race in Philippine history. And so the race answers their call as the iconic triathlon sport is back, inviting warriors to take on the historic challenge.
3, 2, 1.
To swim through the mighty waves of the sea, to ride against the wind on the island's open road, and to cross the iconic finish line and conquer the century Tuna Ironman Philippines.
Saying good morning to all the triathletes. Magandang umaga triathletes. It's already 5:59. Good morning.
More than 900 athletes are gathered at the Subic Bay Boardwalk Beach, overwhelmed with excitement as the Ironman race finally returns to the Philippines. It's the proudest moment for the triathlon sport and the Ironman group, who spared no efforts in giving the iconic race back to its community.
Of course, very, very proud because this is the first live event in Asia in over 2 years, and it's a full distance. So I'm very happy to be able to give this back to the community, to the country, to bring back sports tourism and also make sure that the community is back racing.
And the community welcomes the race with open arms while they eagerly anticipate the start of the Ironman Philippines race.
35 seconds.
Welcoming them as their first challenge is the mighty swim course that pits them against the sea of Subic Bay.
We created an almost rectangular swim course, going out 750 and then followed by a short left turn and then head back for 750 towards the finish line. That one single loop or anti-clockwise loop is designed for the 70.3. For the full distance, we wanted to maintain that rectangular course by doing 2 loops. After the 750, a brief left turn heading towards the shortest distance of the course and then a direct swim towards the finish line. After exiting and completing the first loop, they run now to the swim start and continue their second loop, completing the 3.8 kilometers.
And so our warriors make their final preparations as they await the signal to start the swim course.
3, 2,
The horn blows, and the first athletes to hit the water are the participants of the Ironman 70.3 Philippines, who are also thrilled to return to racing.
I'm very excited to be back. My first 70.3 was in Davao in 2019. After watching my first ever 70.3 in Cebu, it was, I think, back in 2016. And, I was just a spectator. And then I saw everyone crossing the finish line and I got really inspired. And I said, one day I can do this. We've been waiting for this for a really long time, 2 years, I think.
As the last athlete of the Ironman 70.3 race makes way for the sea, the horn blows once more, signaling the warriors of the full Ironman race to dive against the waves. Overwhelmed with sheer excitement, they now look to finish the Century Tuna Ironman Philippines in the same way they conquered their toughest battles in life.
Super overwhelmed ako na nakabalik na tayo ng race after 2 years and after the pandemic. So last 2018, it was my first IMPH. And 2019, I went to Vitoria, Spain to do my Ironman, full Ironman 2. So sabi ko, sa 2020, I'll join sa Australia and then back-to-back na IMPH. Then come mga March, nag-lockdown na. And then I had my diagnosis nga na I had breast cancer, stage 2. With everything that's happened, like yun chemo ko and everything, I am very, very happy and lucky and blessed that I'm here now, that I can race again.
As she bounces back from her fight against cancer, she now looks to inspire others that nothing is impossible if you believe in yourself.
Sa mga nangyayari sa atin, it's really hard to bounce back eh. Parang gusto ko lang paalam sa mga tao, like sa mga people who got sick, na yun nga, you can go back naman talaga. And you just have to fight for it. Fight physically, fight mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. You have to pick up yourself. And then, sige na, move on na tayo because it already happened. And who will help yourself but yourself?
Carrying the determination to seize the momentous day for themselves, our warriors rise from the ocean filled with hype and adrenaline, ready to take on the next challenge of the Century Tuna Ironman Philippines. Obstacle our athletes will face is the formidable 180-kilometer four-loop bike course that starts from the Subic Bay Boardwalk all the way to the Subic-Clark-Tarlac Expressway. Once they completed the final loop, they will make their way back to Esbec for the final challenge of the race. It's a formidable course that demands a lot of preparation from its challengers.
Preparations for 2 years before this race, syempre. Yung mental state namin talaga, every day, kahit hindi kami sure kung kailan gagawin ito, pero we were prepared na baka tomorrow may race na. And kudos to my training partners and to my coach, Annie De Leon Brown. She kept us sane for the whole 2 years para ma-prepare kami kahit kailan na magkaroon ng race.
While some prepare to conquer the race, others simply miss the hype and the energy that was once present in the past Ironman Philippines races.
yung adrenaline po ng bawat participants. No? Yung nami-miss ko, yung mga cheers po ng mga participants, lalo pa po na yung mga spectators po natin. Yun po ang nakakamiss po ng Ironman. Kasi pang-anim na po na beses ko, halos po ng Ironman dito sa Pilipinas. Ang expectation ko talaga mga strong finish po lahat ng mga participants po natin.
The lack of cheerers and spectators in today's Ironman Philippines race is a part of the health protocols that allowed the iconic sport to safely return to racing. But even then, our athletes are still filled with pure adrenaline as Peter Lucos leads the men with Jethro Carl Ramos and Mervin Wenzel Santiago behind him. On the women's side, Ines Santiago widens the gap between her chaser, Mary Jane Baluyot, who passes through Ngan Lam in the 84-kilometer mark. As the race's leads fight their way to the top, there are those who simply enter the Ironman race just to show how much they value the fit and healthy lifestyle that revolves around the community. They believe that by simply supporting the event and its values, it's a victory in and on itself.
Sa tingin ko, lahat kami victorious na for just showing up after 2 years and you know, being in this event is such a great show of courage. And at the same time, sana maging inspiration siya para sa maraming tao rin to stay healthy and be fit pa rin.
The same values also resonate with the partners of the Ironman Philippines race as they continue to promote the importance of health and fitness.
You know, Century Tuna has always been about promoting health and fitness. So health in terms of our food is very high protein, low cholesterol, healthy food for everyone. In terms of fitness, we try to support it through, you know, supporting the triathlon community and other sports, but also talking about how the super bod will be evolving also in terms of the times, right? So we are trying to also pivot our communication in terms of, you know, saying, para kanino ka ba nagpapaka-healthy? Para saan ang lakas mo? Because at the end of the day, you can be fit and healthy for yourself, sure, but it's even more meaningful if you're doing it for someone else.
Motivation can truly play a vital role in conquering an Ironman race, more so if a warrior races in honor of a loved one.
Well, para sa mami ko, she died last year, COVID. Yung first full Ironman ko, nandito siya noon, na nakapanood pa siya. So yun, para sa kanya to. And para din sa mga colleagues ko na may pinagdadaanan din ngayon, na hindi maganda yung health. So para din sa kanila to. Sana nga matapos ko. Promise ko sa kanila, tatapusin ko kahit na wala akong training. Kahit na maglalakad ako, basta kung umabot ako sa cut-off time, tatapusin ko for them.
Motivation and training became the fuel our athletes needed to complete the 180-kilometer bike course. Peter Lucos is still at the helm of the bike, followed by Mervin Wenzel Santiago and Jethro Carl Ramos. Meanwhile, Ines Santiago continues to leave her fellow athletes behind as she finishes the bike course way ahead of Mary Jane Baluyot and Selma Hitalia. One after another, our remarkable athletes continue to reach the end of the bike. Despite their exhaustion from the previous courses, they make their way for the final challenge, still ecstatic that the race they all know and love has returned. The The Ironman Philippines' safe return to race required careful planning and execution so that our athletes will be able to enjoy the race without compromising their safety.
Together with our global team, we established protocols based on Ironman's 5 pillars of safe return to racing. Number 1, education. Number 2, screening. Number 3, touchpoint minimization. Number 4, density reduction. And number 5, athlete self-reliance. So these 5 pillars, we have to adapt and adjust to the local conditions, and we have to also align with the regional task force, which is connected to the IATF, the Interagency Task Force for COVID-19. Lastly, we always have to make sure that our host venues, such as Subic Bay or Cebu or Davao, are also accepting of this new normal in terms of triathlon racing.
These pillars allowed the partners of the historical event to fully enjoy the Ironman Philippines' monumental comeback.
So as an exhibitor, we love what Ironman has done here. It's super organized from the ingress all the way to the expo proper. It's been so good because everything is disinfected. It was so easy for us to coordinate with people in terms of like deliveries, and setup was flawless. We had enough time, just enough time for everything. As an athlete, everything's organized. If you see, there's a lot of social distancing here. There's also a lot of room to move in. So we're happy to see that it's been parang being followed naman yung mga protocols ng safety here in the race.
You know, all the credit goes to the Ironman group. So the team of Princess, talagang tinulungan kami every step of the way to ensure that the team is safe, that everybody who will visit the Century Tuna booth will be feeling inspired and, you know, parang excited to be here, and overall to make sure that we are COVID-free. So everybody took all the necessary RT-PCR tests, Stay Safe app, and talagang lahat kami medyo nag-isolate muna before we go here. And the social distancing is somehow talagang enforced and strict din dito eh. So we feel safe, and all the things that we prepared for, yung mga merch and stuff, it was easy because of our partners. So we have our partner agencies who help us with that as well.
To Go is happy and proud to be the official logistics partner of this global athlete events through the years. We have been supporting Ironman by providing transport services for their hauling needs from Manila to any point in the Philippines. To Go is a subsidiary of SM Investments Corporation, one of the largest conglomerates in the country. It offers multimodal transportation, warehousing, inventory management, distribution, special containers, and project logistics, as well as e-commerce logistics, including last-mile deliveries and express courier deliveries. On behalf of To Go, again, thank you for making us part of this global event. As a business that is always on the go, we are one with you in promoting healthy and active lifestyle.
The Ironman Group and its partners' passion for everyone's health, safety, and security also allowed our athletes to finally challenge the Ironman race after 2 years.
Super exciting. Of course, the race nerves, the jitters are here, especially since it's been so long. But we're super excited to be back. For myself, to race again, especially in the Philippines. I feel also at home here in the Philippines, so I'm proud that I get to represent Ireland, but I'm also excited that I'm racing in my second home in the Philippines.
And the iconic race's triumphant return will also let our athletes finally experience the meaning behind crossing the iconic finish line.
So I think obviously the greatest exposure you can have to Ironman is to someday, and I realize we have restrictions at this point about being physically present to spectate in an event, but to see the finish line or, experience what you see on the faces and the expressions of athletes when they cross the finish line. It's just such a unique thing for Ironman to have participants be able to deliver their own experiences in a way that again, they're following so many different paths to get to that finish line and achieve what they see as that goal. And people overcome so many obstacles, so many impediments and difficulties, whether associated with their own personal issues or concerns, family things that obviously we all care about so much, and just the difficulties throughout the globe right now. Ironman can be such a great vehicle for overcoming these things and coping with these things.
And so our athletes sprint through the final course of the race, hoping to overcome the toughest obstacle of the Century Tuna Ironman Philippines. Four-loop 42.2-kilometer run course is the final challenge our athletes need to overcome before crossing the finish line. And still dominating the men's side of the race is Peter Lucos, whose joy in returning to the Ironman race propels him to maintain his lead over his chasers.
It feels awesome to be back racing. It's truly a wonderful event here. Great kudos to Princess and the whole Sunrise Events team. Beautiful course, perfectly prepared, and I'm so happy to be back racing after 2 years of this pandemic. So hopefully we are back to normal and we'll have more races coming.
On the women's side, Ines Santiago races against all odds as she continues her lead despite her struggles during the COVID-19 pandemic.
During the pandemic, like since 2020, I've been training but just to maintain the fitness, so nothing really long, just small short sessions. And of course, I was expecting that it would be postponed again because of the surge. And then, unfortunately, I also got COVID in January, so I had to stop training for around 3 weeks. And then when I realized that it was pushing through cramming, major cramming, so the training was really just for a month para habulin yung mileage. So that also was very challenging in itself, especially the recovery and everything.
And while the athletes of the Century Tuna Ironman Philippines dash to complete the challenging run course, the participants of the 70.3 Subic Bay Philippines finished their race as champions, celebrating the return of triathlon in the country.
Well, it's Ironman, so it's a brand that a lot of people aspire to join in, and it's a celebration that says that our sport is not yet done for, despite what happened a few years back, and that we're moving forward and we're celebrating the next few years. We're continuing Ironman and Ironman 70.3 here in the Philippines.
Some heroes were met with a heartwarming surprise as their loved ones greeted them as they crossed the finish line.
My family didn't tell me that they're gonna support me kasi busy rin sila sa Clark. So, na-surprise ako na dumating sila. without me knowing. So nakita ko sila. And I dedicate this to my family. And the whole course, I was just thinking of my 2 kids, kay Daniel and Sofia, and my husband, Nick.
The same love and support from his family is what gave Peter Lucas the strength he needed to make it all the way to the finish line and become the first man to conquer the Century Tuna Ironman Philippines.
Peter!
The newborn, born on September, and her second name is Leilani, which is Hawaii. We've been in Hawaii 3 times in Kona already, and I was really hoping to get another slot to bring baby there. It will be delayed celebration of her first year, but we are really looking forward to it. So super happy that the family got to support me here. Very happy to share with them the win.
Not long after Peter's victory, Jethro Carl Ramos also crosses the historic finish line, making him the first Filipino to complete the iconic Ironman race. He expresses nothing but gratitude as he ends the day a champion.
Una't una muna ay gusto kong pasalamatan I would like to thank the Lord for giving me the strength. Ito ang pinakamahirap na Ironman and first time kong gawin ang Ironman na ito. So it's my first time to do this distance. Biglaan ang paghahanda and ang hirap po. Sobrang hirap pero dahil kay Lord, natapos natin.
While one man conquered through the love of his family, another through his devotion to God. This warrior relied only on his indomitable will and training when he crossed the finish line and became an Ironman.
7 years of training, 7 races Ironman, not making it by far. Having people laughing at me and saying, okay, you're not going to make it, putting me down, and I was saying, no, I will make it. Because most people, when you have big dreams, they don't like it and they're trying to put you down. But this is a statement. Make big dreams. Don't listen to anyone. Listen to your inner voice and you can do it. It's not a matter of time, it's a matter of perseverance. Time is not important. In the end, you will win. This is the biggest lesson for me. The power is from within.
And in a moment's time, Ines Santiago also crosses the iconic finish line. She dedicates her spectacular win to the spirit of her loved one and the honorable purpose she carries under his name.
I dedicate this to my brother who passed away. That's why I'm wearing this cap, and if you notice, other people are also wearing it because today is also the virtual run that I organized for him. And with every kilometer that we run, a child will be fed in Siargao, yung mga victims ng Typhoon Odette. So that also gave this race a lot of meaning for me. And I'm sure also for everybody else that registered. So I really thank them for that. I mean, that's 42 kilometers, 42 meals, right? So it's really a special day. It's really a special race for me.
The special feeling of finishing an Ironman race also extends to Mary Jane Baluyot, who finished second, and Marisa Cayowet, who was third to finish the race. One by one, athletes crossed the finish line of the Ironman race. They express their happiness through proud roars and tears of joy as they end the monumental event as champions on the day the triathlon has finally returned to the Philippines.
Our Century Tuna Ironman Philippines. Kauna-unahan sa Asia. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas! Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat.
And so the monumental Ironman Philippines race has come to an end. But the adventure is far from over, for our champions now look to take on a bigger challenge. Tuna Ironman Philippines isn't only a statement about the return of triathlon in the country, but it's also an opportunity for our champions to take on a bigger prize.
Welcome to the 2022 Lowdown Ceremony for Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii, USA on the 6th and 8th of October 2022. As mentioned, we have 45 spots available today. And once again, congratulations to all of you for finishing that very hot and humid race yesterday.
Qualified finishers of the Century Tuna Ironman Philippines have a chance to challenge the Ironman World Championships this October. And our champions are more than excited to conquer the race in the historic place where it all began.
This is my bucket list. Kona has been a dream for over, I would say, 14 years. And finally, podium, getting a slot to Kona is a dream come true. So I thank Ironman, I thank our host, Princess, and everyone here with Chicky and all. Thank you so much for this gift.
Since 1978, the Ironman World Championships has been held in Kailua, Kona, on the beautiful island of Oahu. It's a place where Ironman first made history, along with the greatest triathletes of all time. To be able to race in such a historical place is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, especially for the passionate fans of the triathlon sport.
Going out to a triathlete is really it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So I'm just super grateful to Sunrise for putting the event together, and I'm just really so happy about this. Thank you for bringing racing back to the Philippines. Thank you for putting together a world-class event. More power to you. I hope to race more this year. Thank you.
As our athletes celebrate their victories with pure joy and excitement, they also reminisce about their experience in conquering the Ironman Philippines race.
I'm Van Chendaya, and I just raced 2022 Ironman Philippines. It was the toughest race I've ever done, as in super mentally challenging, super physically challenging, the course, the heat, the humidity. But Ironman is never easy, so I just had to do it.
So my name is Ngan. I'm from Vietnam. Yesterday the race experience was amazing, and it's the first time ever I never think of giving up. I know that there are family and friends and also support in the finish line waiting for me. So it gives me the strong motivation to push harder. And also because for the past more than 2 years, it's a lot of up and down moments. So to be able to get to the start line is already a big success. So I just enjoy every single moment of it. And for Sunrise event in the Philippines, it was an amazing experience. Air station, supporter, volunteer, everything was well set up.
The race's success also gave people a glimpse on the shining qualities that makes Ironman Philippines a unique and spectacular experience.
You know, I think here already in such a short time, I feel the great spirit of the people here and the culture and expression of just sheer joy and a great community sense. You know, very few places I've visited seem to have that sort of universal joy for living, and that's what stands out for me so far.
Through that joy, the Ironman Group looks into the future so they may share the happiness and excitement the triathlon community brings to the country.
Napakasaya, napakasarap at salamat sa Diyos nakabalik na tayo para sa community natin, para sa lahat ng taong sumasaya dahil sa atin at para sa lahat ng tao na nagkakatrabaho dahil sa atin. Bago tayo mag-Ironman, mag-rock and roll muna tayo sa Manila. Sa June 19, 12,000 people. We will try to do that again this year, and then that will be followed by Ironman 70.3 Cebu. Guys, we have to support Cebu after the bagyo nila nung last year, ano? And then after that, we have a very special announcement very soon. New destination. To our Kona Warriors, game na. Ito na ang ating dream. We will make it to Kona finish line in October 2022. See you there, and we will raise the Philippine flag once again.
And so our athletes and the entire triathlon community cheer loud and proud as they celebrate the historic comeback of their favorite sport. And they know in their hearts that they can overcome any hardship the world throws at them. For they had just witnessed and conquered the return of the country's most exhilarating triathlon event, the Ironman race. The Century Tuna Ironman Philippines would like to thank Go for Gold, Basta Pilipino, Ginto, The Philippine Star, Truth Shall Prevail, Teresa Marble Corporation, Light Water, Recharge Naturally, NLEX SE Techs, Prudential Guarantee, Ensuring Growth, Rudy Project, Red Bull gives you wings. Sante, hashtag live more, do more. Hoka, time to fly.